Well, the 8th episode of the second season of Yellowjackets is here, and after what we witnessed unfold in the final part of episode 7, I was looking forward to seeing the aftermath of what Shauna did to Lottie, but also how the group were going to deal with the phone call that Shauna received in the present day, and we definitely got to see all of that and more. With the group looking like they were turning on each other in the present day, but being persuaded into carrying out the ritualistic behavior like they did when they were in the past due to believing that the darkness that was with them when they were in the wilderness was present with them now, and with the group getting to a point where they needed to sacrifice one of their own in order to survive, the darkness was ever present. So with that, let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is Yellowjackets Season 2 Episode 8, Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The ending. The episode was titled It Chooses, and it definitely did choose. We saw that in the present day, the group had formed a divide over the fact that Shauna had essentially betrayed every single one of them in telling all of their secrets to Jeff, which meant that they were now at risk. And whilst that was going on in the past, the group had come to terms with the fact that they needed to survive without Lottie because she had said that they could use her body if she did die. This was something that they didn't want to happen, so we instead saw them dish out the playing cards in order to find a new person that could be given to the wilderness, which would in turn allow the wilderness to give something back to them, Lottie's recovery and also food for themselves. This was something that was being mirrored during the ending of the episode in the present day for the characters too. Lottie had been believing that the darkness that was with them 25 years ago was with them in the present day, and it was what ultimately led them all together at the compound, because it wanted some kind of sacrifice and offering in order for their lives to return to some sense of normality. Hence why instead of cards like we saw in the past, we saw there be 5 cups where one had poison within it, which would then act as the offering to the wilderness. A decision that we didn't see the group necessarily agree to at first due to their reluctance of one of them dying, obviously. But judging by the trailer for the next episode, it seems as though they're all going to be participating in it. Their lives are complete messes, as was described by Lottie, and we know the Holden leadership that Lottie exhibits around them, so I'm not surprised that they're going to be participating in it. During the story in the past, it was Nat who was given the card that had the Queen of Hearts on, which meant that she was the person that had to be sacrificed. But that didn't actually end up happening. Travis pushed Shauna out the way, which led Natalie to escape. As Nat was on the run, Javi, an individual who he hadn't heard from in a long while, offered to show her a secret place that nobody knew about. A place that Ben had found himself at, which I'll touch on shortly, and they attempted to go there. However, as they were embarking on the journey, the ice beneath him cracked and he ended up dying, thus being the true person that was selected by the wilderness to be offered up. This also showed us that they can't truly choose. It actually does. Javi could have been saved, but Nat didn't do so because she knew that if she did save him, then the others would get her instead, so she let him die, which did ultimately spare her own life. With Travis making amends with Nat in this episode, and him being the person that prevented Shauna from killing her when in the cabin, it makes me question whether or not he's probably going to turn on her again, because he may feel responsible for the death of his own brother. No matter how the group plays it, they can't decide what the wilderness wants. It will always end up making its own decision and finding a way of getting what it truly wants, which is how that scene could be perceived. Where did Ben go? Ben had an interesting arc in this episode. He lost his place in the group and it certainly felt as though he was distancing himself from them, even being on the verge of giving up. But within this episode, we saw that he found a secret place that he located by following the drawing that Javi did. Nat informed him that Javi was bowing to some kind of tree and that he had been drawing it. So Ben put the two together and realized that there was probably a place that Javi was at during his time of absence from the group. It had definitely been stayed in, and with Javi mentioning that he knew of a place that nobody else didn't, it definitely pointed towards Javi being there for the few months that he was missing. But why is this important? Well, on the night that Javi was found, it was Ty that located him and brought him back to the cabin. We know that Ty is deeply connected to the symbols that have been appearing on the trees out in the wilderness. So I wonder if the alternative version of herself knew about Javi this whole time. With us seeing that the alternative version of Ty was present in this episode for the first time in a while, I feel this is a place where Ty has also been going during the periods where she's been blacking out and sleeping. I still don't feel as though it's going to end well for Ben moving forward, but it does make me question if he's going to keep this place a secret or not. Nat obviously now knows that Javi had a secret place as he mentioned it to her, so I feel the group could well go on the hunt for it to find out where it's located. Will Shauna get caught? Within this episode, Kevyn and the authorities went over to Shauna's house and they were greeted by Jeff, who allowed them to search the house due to a warrant. Shauna is now a prime suspect in the murder of Adam, but Jeff did keep his mouth shut when the officers were there. However, after seeing the images of what happened to Adam, it was definitely something that lingered in his mind, as he ended up having a nightmare of Shauna killing him, something which prevented him from going back to sleep and instead sitting with Callie downstairs, where Callie opened up and stated how she was worried that she would be as messed up as her mother. With Kevyn saying the line to Jeff, "There's still time for you to get out with Callie," I do wonder if that's something that he will look to do. Jeff is capable of being on the other side, as we saw when he was blackmailing the group, and after all, Shauna did cheat on him, so maybe he will speak with the authorities, or at least threaten to, which could lead to Shauna getting caught, or maybe him ending up where Adam did. Overall review. I thought this was a good episode of the show. It was dark just like the rest of the season, and I feel this is going to be the tamest episode before the end. I think the next one is going to have an increased pace and a darker tone as we draw to the end of the season. I'm still very much enjoying the story that's set in the past more, but I do think the one in the present day is also interesting too and complements what we're watching. With Walter emailing the police department stating that he has information about Adam's murder, I wonder if that means that he's going to be going against Misty. There was a moment where Misty called Walter her boyfriend in this episode when she was speaking to the group, which I thought was something that showed a slight change in the character. The hunger within the group was something that was made extremely clear by us seeing that Akila's mouse was not actually alive and that she'd been hallucinating the whole time. And we also saw that Mari's dripping sound was back. But Ty had the capability of hearing it too. However, she didn't see the blood on the wall like Mari did, so I do wonder how that's going to tie into it. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really a fan of the way that all of the characters switched when hunting after Natalie, and also when they were howling like wolves. I found that to be a bit cringy. This is their friend that we're talking about, and they're treating it like a hunt. I found the emotional disconnect a bit strange, and also the scene where Javi died was spine-chillingly haunting. There's still a lot for the show to cover, but with it being confirmed that there's another season on the way, at least we know that the story is going to be getting developed further, even if we don't get all of the answers in this season. So, there you have it, Yellowjackets Season 2 Episode 8, Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, Theories and Predictions, and Character Breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.